Well, joining us now is Congresswoman Diane Black, who has really been at the forefront of this for a number of years now, of trying to get you, the taxpayer, out of the business of funding Planned Parenthood. Congresswoman Black, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate your having me on.
You have reintroduced your bill once again to sever ties between the taxpayers and Planned Parenthood.
I have, and this is not something that I just introduced as a result of what has occurred or that we have now have evidence of what goes on with Planned Parenthood. But I introduced this at the beginning of this this session. So H.R. 217 would defund Planned Parenthood altogether. Well, it would defund them from getting the money that we're giving them from the government.
Right.
As you have already said, about $500 million goes to Planned Parenthood, and we know from the GAO report that money is fungible. They try to say that they don't use it for abortion, but you can't have an abortion clinic on one side and a birth control clinic on the other side and say that there's not shared expenses. So
right.
We know this from GAO reports, and as you've referenced, we've seen other things that are just despicable that goes on in Planned Parenthood. And this bill would simply say that if you are providing abortion services, you are not eligible for federal funding.
Right, and I've made this point very clear on this program that the bulk of their money comes through Title X funding for family planning. But as you've pointed out, we've discussed this, they can do both abortions and family planning under the same roof with the overhead being paid by taxpayers. So there's really no distinction here. But I want to go a little deeper with it on this, Congresswoman Black, because you are not approaching this just from a political standpoint, but you you were a nurse. You worked in the healthcare field. You have an understanding of this issue and what it means for women and healthcare in general.
Yes, I do. And I have fought this all my career. I've now been in the public arena with public policy now for 15 years, back at the state level as well as here at the federal level. And I have seen and known what Planned Parenthood was about for all of these years and have fought it consistently, both at the state level and what we've been able to pass at the state level, and now again working on this at the federal level. If people were to go on, if they just Google Title X, and then when the different divisions come up, if they go into DHS and they see right on the front page of the Title X what this money has always been directed toward, it is family planning, healthy family planning. They actually use that word. This is not health. Abortions are not health. And that money is going to Planned Parenthood and really other places that do provide abortion, but Planned Parenthood obviously is the biggest abortion provider in the entire country, and so we talk about them. But this bill actually does not name Planned Parenthood. It just says that if you are getting Title X dollars, which are supposed to be used for healthy family planning, and you provide abortion, you do not get those dollars.
Right, and that's been consistent in the proposed legislation. But the reality is, Planned Parenthood is the largest recipient of taxpayer dollars in this area when it comes to organizations that perform abortion. Given what has taken place this week and the revelations of yet another scandal surrounding Planned Parenthood, this one clearly appearing to be across the line in terms of being criminal. Is this providing incentive for other lawmakers to now say, yeah, it's time we go ahead and sever these ties?
I think that when you watch that film, you cannot in any way discount that this is inhumane. This is just a despicable behavior. It's basic decency that we would respect life. And in this situation where we're seeing that someone is cavalierly drinking some wine and eating a salad and talking about body parts of these fetuses and how, oh yes, we can put the fetus in a certain position so we can preserve the liver or the brain. It just sickens me to know that we have people out there, number one, that think that way. but to know that they are doing this in a way that is so cavalier.
And taxpayers are being forced to be a part of it as it's current.
Absolutely. $500 million, $500 million a year, over 327,000 abortions in 2013 alone. That was the last statistic we have on how many abortions that they provided. And it just really, anybody who has any decency should just be outraged at what they're seeing. So, as you've already indicated, there will be hearings. I think there needs to be investigations on this, and to show that this is not just indecent, but this is breaking the law as well.
Congresswoman Diane Black, thanks so much for being with us. As always, appreciate your leadership.
Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me, but more importantly, thank you for keeping this in the forefront so that people are aware of it and it's not hidden behind the scenes somewhere, and it's outright for people to actually see and view.
All right. Don't go away, folks. We're right back after this with more